Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Nigel Knows. We are here today to talk and engage and, give some insight, some stories, whatever. Y'all know how we do at this point.
Yes.
But this is episode 2 of season 2. Yeah, baby. Yeah, we in there. Shake it one time, twerk. But of course, we have Miss Felicia.
Hello.
We have Miss Tori, and we have Miss Me, who is Nika. And we're getting started back with our random facts, our fitness tips, our travel tips. So, who wants to go first? Me?
Tori.
I'll go first.
All right.
So I am back on the travel tip. I am doing a nice East Coast road trip now that I have my car back. West Coast, it was all like a rental car. Now I'm back on the East Coast. I got my car, and it's just I'm taking a whole month to just make my way up and then turn back around and make my way back. I'm currently in Philly. So far, I've been to Savannah, Raleigh, DC. DC was bomb. Shout out to DC. So now just here in Philadelphia, see what it has to offer. But my tip for everywhere that I've gone so far in like the last 8 to 9 months that I've been on the road is security. So obviously everybody feels differently about, being armed or carrying guns. You do or you don't. I have, my own set of protection that I keep and carry with me. But something at night that I always do that I got off of Amazon is a door jammer. So, it's inherently most people are good, but for those who aren't, you always want to take that extra step, especially when you're traveling by yourself. So I got this off of Amazon. You can just look up door jammer, but what it does is that this piece right here goes into where the door opens, and you close it on top of it, and then you take this part here and lock it in behind the door.
Nice.
So that even if they undo the lock, they won't be able
to open it. Yeah,
you can't open the door, and and it fits. So far I haven't come across a door that it doesn't work on yet.
Okay.
They're super cheap. It was $5 to $10 for one of these. They're super sturdy. They come with a little bag. And yeah, whether you're in a room or you're in a whole apartment and locking the door, if locking the door doesn't feel like enough, this is always a great extra added layer of simple protection and security
I like
for
that.
yourself.
Yeah, that's a good tip.
That's a tip.
Like you said, especially for when you're traveling by yourself and stuff. Everybody should be safe, but as females, obviously, sometimes we have to be a little extra vigilant with our safety when it comes to that. So yeah, that's a good one. I might have to get one of those, even though I don't really go anywhere that much. But it's okay.
It's good to have.
It's good to have.
It's good to have, and it's travel friendly. It's yay big.
Small. Okay, well, thank you, Tori. Yes. So I'll go next, and of course, we have our random facts. So. Yeah. The way that this one came about, I was talking to a friend the other day, and we were talking about being nerds and stuff like that. And then she starts talking about how she was looking up if insects breathe, like how do they breathe? And I was like, you know what? That's a good question. How do insects breathe?
Let's look at.
Do they? Yeah, I found all types of information. Of course, it depends on the insect, but generally speaking, most insects, they don't have lungs, in the sense that we do, but they do have these, what's it called? Tubes that are all over their body. It's their whole skin basically is like a respiratory system. And the tubes are called trachea, and the trachea is what delivers the oxygen to their bodies. Also, what I learned is some insects can hold their breath for days at a time.
Nice.
That's cool. New article that scientists believe that is because too much oxygen can kill them. So they have evolved, whatever they call it, but they can stop breathing for a few days in order to preserve themselves. And I was like, maybe that's why roaches are so durable. They why it takes
they will literally
suffocate them.
The apocalypse.
Wrong poison to kill them because they be like, oh, here it goes.
Oh, you think you got me?
Yes.
I got time.
Got another 48 hours in.
Right? And even then when they do breathe, it's like 3 more days.
That was funny.
Breathe, Nick.
I'm gonna have a whole narrative about that now in my head. That's gonna
That's gonna live rent
But
free.
I
Yes,
did
but that's gonna
like,
escalate.
So like
There's
that's
gonna be
why
a
like
whole
you
storyline.
call the bug man, he got to keep coming back because they holding their breath.
Right?
Yeah,
It's like,
you got to get the ones. Yeah,
Right, you thought this bug was gonna do something.
You got to get the ones that wasn't paying the ones that weren't paying attention. Though he got them, but the ones that were like, hey, you know,
everybody take a breath now.
Right.
Yeah.
They got my auntie last week. Y'all hold your breath. Hold your breath.
Yeah. She wasn't paying attention. She didn't get to hold her breath in time.
Don't eat the bait.
Or maybe it's just because I always say it's like a margarita to them. You know, they get a little tipsy and then they all right the next day.
Yeah,
but I think it's because they're actually holding their breath, and that's probably why it takes
crazy.
so
That
long to
makes
get rid
so
of
much sense now.
That makes me not like bugs even more than I
Even
already
more,
not
right?
like them. Like,
right, but that
Like,
also
you can
tells
literally,
if you think about it, because I've done it where it's like you see the bug real quick and you pour water on it, and it's just like it doesn't do much. Yeah, he's holding his breath. You can't drown him. You cannot drown
so
him.
when we
see, this is why that's why we don't flush.
What happens?
They come back up.
It's like a water slide at Volcano Bay. Cross your arms.
Get to the bottom.
They swim to the side to the lifeguard. Does absolutely nothing to them. Anyway, that was funny to me. Anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Felicia.
The mental images, the pictures I get are not okay. All right, so
Wait, introduce the little traps that they put down for the bugs. I think we had like laughed about it before. It's almost like, and it's a horrible analogy, but it's like introducing crack to like the roach community. Don't touch that bait. I just need a little. I just need just a little bit, and they put that one leg in, and that one leg get caught. Okay, sorry.
Right.
Continue.
Oh God. Okay.
All right.
Jesus. Okay. Fitness tip, right? One that I've been testing out myself is you don't have to go real heavy in the gym. One, I'm getting older and my joints, don't feel the same as they did maybe 10 years ago. So I know I can squat 400 pounds. I don't need to do it every time I go to the gym. I don't have anything to prove to anybody. I don't need to prove that I can curl 30 pounds. There's no point. So when you go to the gym and you want to get into weights, lightweight is okay, but it's how you do it. It's a form, and it's, when you say if you're doing a curl and you come up, you're just not going to be in there doing this because that's doing absolutely nothing. You literally have to come up and squeeze. So just, your form, making sure you're getting that mind muscle connection to get an effective workout on whatever body part that you're working that day.
And what about reps? Because like when I was going, the other trainer before I moved that I was going to, sometimes it wasn't necessarily the heavy weight, like you said, there was a high number of reps. So he might have a lighter weight, and then it would squeeze when you come to the top. Like, if you're doing.
So you want to do a burnout. And that's where you get the muscle growth. That's where the muscle growth comes. A lot of times you'll see people when they're doing it and then it starts to burn and they stop. That's when you're supposed to keep going, because that's when you're going to see the growth in your muscles
pull apart.
So that's why you get you start doing either more sets or more reps with a lighter weight. You don't want to do more sets and reps with heavier weight, because that's stupid. It doesn't make sense. You're going to tire yourself out and burn yourself out, and you're not going to be effective while executing that exercise.
Right. All right, Felicia. Well, thank you for that fitness tip. So today we're talking about Black parenting. If you are listening to us, I would encourage you to go watch on YouTube, because I am going to put the video that I saw that, we started talking, that what brought this topic about. But basically the video is 3 young ladies. They probably look like they're about 13, 14. And they got a beat playing, and they, rapping, doing their little freestyle, whatever they're doing. And they're cursing, saying F word and N and all this stuff. So the mom, I guess, hears them because it was kind of loud, and all you hear is a boom, 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 boom on the door, and she come with that belt, and she's swinging. Like I was flinching, like ooh,
right.
I was flinching, like ooh,
right.
Like
she came in there with the ninja moves,
and she was yelling. She wasn't even. I guess she wasn't mad that they were cursing because she was cursing too. She was yelling that they were cursing too loud in her house, and I mean, she's beating them. And the video that I saw, he was making fun of it. Obviously, not we as Black people. To us, it's not necessarily traumatizing because a lot of us were beat like that or had spankings. So it's like, oh shoot, it's not a huge deal. But I was reading some of the comments and stuff, and I was like, yeah. It did feel a little excessive if you take the little, the little parody, the funny part out. It's like, oh, that take that.
Yeah.
Especially these
girls.
It is
too much.
She is. So like the question is like to spank or not to spank. Yeah, for those of us, well, I know Tori, you don't have any children, but you could talk about your experience. I know you got spanked.
Yeah. Especially with your mouth. I know you got I know you talk. Like, you got hit a lot.
If my mouth didn't say it, my face did. And that was enough to get me beat.
Yeah, I mean, as a parent, being the one that would administer a spanking. Now, me personally, I'm not a huge fan of it because I have a temper. Like I really do. I come off very calm and easy, but if you know what's actually going on in my head, you'd be like, oh, shoot.
You will run.
Yeah, you would run because I feel like if I'm at the point where I want to hit you, like I want to hurt you. And at that point, I'm angry and I'm past my limit. So I'm not a hitter at all. So like with my children, my older one, I think I've spanked him in the 18 years he's been here maybe 5 times. And I felt kind of bad each time because he's usually such a good kid. So it wasn't that I had to spank him often because he would listen if, he was just a good kid, just in general. But the younger one, Felicia, I know I've told you this. He was different. He's definitely the one that would throw the random tantrums out of nowhere, and he didn't care what you say about shut up or be quiet. He did not care about that. So one time he was probably about like 2, maybe 2 going on 3. And I don't remember what he did, but I went and got the belt and I wasn't going to, beat him, but I was going to just, give him a little tap on the butt. Don't do that because he wouldn't listen to me, when I'm talking to him. And I held the belt up and I went to swing and he grabbed it and he was strong. I used to call him He-Man baby. He grabbed that belt and kind of jerked back and I was like, oh, okay. All right. I put the belt down like, all right. All right, I ain't gonna beat you. I ain't gonna beat you. And I never tried to spank him again after that. But he's a good kid too. Like I have good children. I really don't have to do that with them. But yeah, with him, it was just like, okay, so yeah, spankings aren't gonna work. So we have to do a different discipline method because he don't care nothing about no belt. He will take it out of your hand. He does not care.
But I think that has a lot to do with the kids nowadays because can you imagine if we did that to our parents?
If I looked at the belt like I thought I was going to have any intention to grab it, I would not be here today.
No, we would not be here talking about it in 2021. Right. And my mom beat me with a belt maybe a couple times, but she was the type of woman to go get a branch off of a tree.
Switches.
And that's how I got beat. And the crazy thing is, how we're raised, we tend to recreate that when we have children. And I remember when Maya was younger, I used to carry a switch in my trunk.
Oh, wow.
And it was probably the good switch too, not too thick, not too thin. Got a good.
You do like that noise. That noise.
That waver.
Good one. Yeah, it's a good one.
Yes.
But we can't do our kids the way that we were raised. Like I've definitely beat Maya, and like Nick has said, the temper. Like I've had to literally FaceTime Nick, you better get her because I'm about to kill her. And Nick would be in bed, like Maya, I told you. Because I'm the same way. If I get to a point, and this is part of growth, I wasn't always like that. I didn't have a problem with him and you up against a wall or getting a belt or something and beating you with it. I didn't have a problem with that. But this is a part of growing. Like, all I have to do is talk to you. But Maya is the type of kid who will push you and push you
Just
and
what
will
those
follow
limits
you
are.
around and follow you and talk to you. But why can I do it? But why? That doesn't make sense. And you get to a point where you're on the verge of blacking out. Like, I'm about to turn around and push her through a wall. So before I do that, let me call somebody who can reason with her, not me.
But you know, that's a fun
to save her life.
That's a fun testament to kind of like our generation coming out of that old way of beatings being the most efficient way to keep a person, a child, quiet and obedient, to coming
slavery.
To this point. Yeah, that's definitely a remnant of slavery. And even though spankings at that point from Black parents kind of come out of love to like, I'm gonna beat this kid because that's the quickest, fastest way to get them to be quiet so master doesn't come over and beat them worse than I would. So I'm gonna handle this in-house here before it escalates to something like that. Right. But that's never left our ethos as a community. But as we start moving kind of further away from it, we realize that that's not necessarily necessary anymore. Not necessarily that there isn't. I don't think that there is never a place for corporal punishment. I think once again, that's going to be like per the child. So like to your point, you know, I got beat. I'm for doing shit that I wasn't supposed to be doing. But my parents took me as a kid, as an individual into consideration, because what was happening is that you, as a kid, you can talk to me, and I was very mature in the fact that you can reason with me, make it make sense, and you can reason with me, but don't talk at me. If you talked at me, even as a kid, my eyes would gloss over and I would stop listening. And I'll just wait for you to go ahead and get it out because you're not going to listen to what I got to say. I don't feel like hearing any of this. I know I'm about to get a whooping. Let's just do this. Like I would completely just zone out as soon as, and even as an adult, I have to fight doing that now. When a tone goes above a certain level, you lost me.
I think that's with humans in general, because when people start screaming, you stop listening.
I can't engage in it. I can't. No, but there are people that can engage in that. There are some people who are in tuned to want to engage in that. That wasn't me as a kid. And that's not really either of the three of us either in general. But there are people that go in at that engagement, but that wasn't me. And I have a high pain tolerance, so I would have routed the spanking. But after a while, I think I was around like 12, where I got a spanking and I decided I wasn't gonna cry. Like I was done crying. And so my dad, and at that point, my dad started like, you know, kind of hitting me harder and realizing that I'm not budging. I'm not crying. I'm not budging. I'm not crying. I'm not budging. And he's kind of going hard to kind of see like what's going on. And he's like, you know, why are you not crying? I was like, you don't deserve these tears.
All right. When you see something like that, it makes you think, like, do parents get off of seeing their children cry? That's kind of scary.
That's what I used to wonder, like in a weird way, like what? Because I had never understood it hurts you more than it hurts me. Like, what do you mean? You made the choice to get the belt.
Yeah, to spank.
So how does it hurt you? You ain't got.
I will say I don't ever think my parents got a satisfaction. I think it was more of like the result in to make sure that the punishment was effective. And so when I stopped and looked at him, I was like, you don't deserve these tears. I'm not going to cry. And he just he immediately stopped, put the belt down, and then walked away. And then of course he left the room, and then I cried. But like he came back and was just like, you know what you did? I was like, I know what I did. He's like, and you also know that we're disappointed. And as soon as he said that, I lost it.
Yeah,
like, and then they realized that was the way to get to me is use your words. Use your words.
For me, it's the same. Yeah, it was that. Yeah, it was the same thing. Like, of course, I got spankings and stuff too. I remember my sister said something about bringing up one of the spankings, but that wasn't that the worst spanking of your life? Like, not actually. The worst spanking of my life was when I was 14, because that was the last spanking I got. And my mom, she never got a stick. It was always a belt, but she actually went and got a stick. And when I think about it now, it's something over something very minor, but she went and got a stick and beat me. And at this point, I'm about tall as she is. So it was my pride that was hurt. You know, like, dang, she gonna beat me. I'm tall as she is, almost as tall as she is. And she gonna try to beat me. I'm like in middle school. I'm about to go to high school, you know, and she trying to beat me.
That don't matter. You know that.
Right. But yeah, for me, it was more so the words, like knowing that I didn't please my parents, that hurts me or would hurt me more than actual spanking. Because I'm like you, I'm the silent crier.
Yes.
I'm not that was my sister, but
which I feel like is reflected in the way we work out too, by the way, guys, because all of us are just like silently like
gritting your teeth through it.
Shut up. One more set. Shut up. You only got half a mile to go.
That's even like my older one. I had him with no epidural, no medication. The nurse was like, "Oh my gosh, has she done this before?" And I was like, "No, it's the first child." But I was just like, I did not want it. It was painful. Not the second one though. I give it to me right now.
Shoot me.
Yeah, I think I have maybe a higher pain tolerance.
Bless your heart. I mean, I didn't want. My thing is, I didn't want to feel like I like pain, and sexual pain, all that stuff.
That's a good.
But I'm sorry. Yes, I did not want to feel pain in my machine. I'm sorry. No, I did not want to feel that.
Like,
so
to be like all natural because they had to induce my labor, so they got to give you something anyway.
No children, no child route.
The all natural route. So it was very painful. So yeah, by the time the second one came along, nope, shoot me up. I don't want to feel. Give it to me. Give it to me. Right.
I say, give it to me before I get to 6 centimeters, because once I get to 6, I know you're going to tell me no. So let's go ahead and do this. Because they tried to give me something else and it made me see spots and I would still feel the contractions. I'm like, this isn't working and time's ticking. Can we do this now?
Yeah.
Like now.
That's traumatizing in itself.
It is. But
I've watched, like my sister, I've watched her give it is beautiful. No, it is a whole miracle. Like it is really cool that you like
we literally carry and grow and give
a whole fetal parasite in your body and feeding off you.
Yeah, that's exactly what they are.
And then you like pop it out and it's basically like you're taking a being from one dimension and bringing it out here to this dimension. It's amazing, but damn if I'm not strong enough to do that. That's
I wouldn't encourage it.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, and I love mine to death, but I wouldn't encourage it.
Don't do it, especially to bring kids into this bullshit ass world.
Yeah, exactly. That's more so that, and then have to worry about spanking them.
Yes.
So back to
our family does not spare the rod.
Because I know a lot of Black people, like you just said. Actually, I was about to say that. Spare the rod, spoil the child.
Yes. We heard that a lot growing up.
Assuming at least they always said it was in the Bible.
Probably
is, I guess, but
I think they interpreted how they wanted to.
Yeah, and then I was curious, like, what's the difference between, what is discipline? So of course, me, nerd, I looked up the exact definition. So discipline, the practice of training people to obey rules or a code of behavior using punishment to correct disobedience. Spank, I looked up what does it mean to spank. Slap with one's open hand or a flat object, especially on the buttocks, as a punishment. And I think there's a very fine line between discipline and spanking. Yes, spanking can be a part of discipline, but like what you said, for me, like I just, mentioning mine, you have to cater to the child.
Yeah. Yes.
Spankings, I mean, because people process things and internalize things differently.
Yeah. So explore new ways of what discipline can be. Like what does that, what new ways, especially as like a Black community, can we, because it's not like we're a different species from anybody else on the planet that has to be dealt with more harshly than anybody else. I mean, that not to say either that our kids need to like run rampant or we need to put our kids on leashes and shit, but like there's better ways out there that they can better serve.
Yeah. Yes. And, I always hear people say, well, I got spanked and I turned out okay. And then you start talking to people and you realize,
did you though?
You got a lot of issues. So did you really turn out okay? Now,
I think a lot of us like pain now because of it. Like a lot of us like to kind of be roughed up a little bit, sexually now. I'm like, ooh,
so it's like I wouldn't say complete spanking. Get rid of spanking altogether, because I as a witness, I can say it works, but at least for that particular video that we'll show, we'll add it in here. But I mean, I feel like that was excessive, like, especially for what she was yelling about. You're cursing loud in my house. So you're not even worried about the fact that they're cursing. You're just worried.
It's just that they're loud.
Like,
and she probably got beat like that. That's the thing. That mom probably got beat like that for every little thing. Probably even more so got beat for every little thing that she did because she wasn't quiet in the house, because kids are supposed to be quiet, or not as expressive
seen
as
and
they
not
could be.
heard.
Yeah. And so
Right.
she probably got her behind whooped just as hard or just as much.
Yeah.
And now I think a lot of that generation is like, it's almost like,
and it's going to keep trickling down like that until
like
somebody
hazing.
decides to change it. Yeah,
I did it and I had it done to me. So now, finally, I have kids now that I can now beat because I got beat, and I want to take that out. And I think that may not be like the forefront thought of that, but that's definitely like, it's kind of like a
get back.
Yeah.
But it's like kids though, somebody that had nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
I just like I said, for me, spanking is I prefer not to do it just because not because I don't think it works in some form.
It's just you didn't want
just me
to do
personally, because I'm gonna hurt you.
I think there's a place for corporal punishment,
really hurt you.
Yes, there's a time and a place.
Yeah.
Now, her being 16 now, I'm at a point where I know she's taller than me now. So it's like, I don't feel like fighting you. I don't want.
No, we'll go for some knees now.
I will. But it's like, why put in one? I know I'm a lot stronger than you, and if I do put my hands on you, I'm gonna hurt you. Just like the video. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure the way those kids were looking, that did not feel, that hurt.
It like looked like it hurt me.
Damage. She did some damage to their body and their soul, their spirit. Right. I mean, just crushed.
Mm-hmm. I don't. Damn, we can't have a good time at all. Like, if you didn't like the song or anything, cool. If you didn't like the message of the music, say something. But damn, I can't even have fun.
No. And then that leads to the sneaking, the lying. It leads to, it's like it's a snowball, and it's no point for it. Just, I don't need to beat mine. And I've realized that, like you said with your parents, Tori, that your father saw that beating you, no effect, but talking to you. I realized that about her. And it's funny because I see a lot of us in her. So I've had to tailor a lot, again, growth, a lot of what I do tailored to her. I don't need to put my hands on her. I mean, hell, at this point, taking anything from her does absolutely nothing because she just goes to sleep. She does not care. She does not care. Oh, you're going to take it? I'm going to go to bed. So I literally have to sit down and have a conversation and have dialogue with her. And not, like you said, not talking at her, because it's all shut down. And you can see it in her face when she's shut down.
Yeah. It leads us to another point, because as I was, the phone, sidebar, the phone, iPhone, Google, whoever, government, they listen and they watch everything you do.
Yes.
I didn't even say the word spank or anything. I was just typing notes on my phone for today. And then a post pops up about children and parents and, responsibility. So it did bring up an interesting point, though.
Oh yeah, it's always listening.
Go into, but the post, let me give credit where credit is due. It's a page that I follow called Beaut and Beast Company. It's Beaut and Beast. It's like a women's empowerment. They give you like business tips and social media, how to grow your social media, stuff like that. But anyway, they posted here, do children have a responsibility to parents that have abused, neglected, or manipulated them? Does the title parent mean that you can disrespect your children or hurt them and they are expected to forgive you? Because a lot of times I think even with the spanking, it's because, I'm the mom, I'm the parent, I pay the bill, because I know I've said it.
Yes.
I pay the bills, you don't pay nothing in here. And I remember when I was at one of the banks I worked at, and the teller supervisor I used to hang out at with her family like all the time. And I was talking about, whatever issue I was having at the time as far as children are concerned. And she was like, you shouldn't say that to him. It's like, well, why not? It's true. Yeah, but that's going to make him feel like his voice doesn't mean anything just because he doesn't have the money to pay. Yeah, you can't pay the bills. He's a child and you chose to bring him here. So you should never say that to him because you don't want to diminish or make him feel less. Because he's not contributing financially, especially as a man, as a boy, because that's already on them anyway. Well, if he can't do this, financially, then he ain't nothing. So you're making it worse, or you're fostering that, putting that seed there by you even saying that to him. So I was like, dang,
Well, I think depending on
Not
the
that I never said it
situation, I
again,
think
but
I think the context of it is like, to her point, that's a really good point for her to
Yes.
bring up. But I think in
Yeah.
context, do I think that statement, especially when they get older, as they get older and closer to being an adult, that we expect to appreciate things on and do things on their own. I think that there's still context for something like that. Like that in itself can be its own discussion. Like, as
but
they get older,
not with these kids now.
it's yeah,
I've and hearing that, I'm like, damn, I've said that recently.
I mean, I
like
still said it afterwards.
No,
it didn't
it's
stop
like,
me from saying it, but it's just like,
but I still think
it
that
did
there's
make
a
me
place
think.
for that, though. I take that back. I still think that there's a place for that, because once again, because the idea, obviously, I don't have kids, guys. Please, internet people, don't come for me. I don't have kids, but as a objective onlooker of those around me that do have children, I think that something like that still does have a place to be discussed, not necessarily hurled at them, but like to be discussed. I still think that has a place, because once again, the idea of taking children is to take them and move them into adulthood so that they can then,
but I think there's a better way to
that's what I mean, there's a better way to shape that, and I think that something like that is good when they're older, as they're approaching adulthood, when you start to see that they're not quite understanding the context of what it takes to have a house over your head, have things, have a job, pay things. Like, I think that there is, when you start seeing that ungratefulness, there is a place for that conversation to come up. And hopefully it is a conversation, but I think that that's part of parenting, because at some point you have to move them from being just a child to an adult.
And that comes with talking to your children and having conversations with them, and like saying stuff like that. Like, Maya would come back to me later and say, why do you say that? Because it makes me feel like just because you bought it for me, that nothing is mine. Like, nothing in here is mine. So it's doing something, to her internally. And that's another damaging thing as parents that we're doing. And of course, that's not our intention. We're intending for it to do something different, but they're they're perceiving it completely different.
Yeah, that's
why
I
can
like
help them through that. You can say that. You can say, okay, I understand how that's making you feel, but I said it because I feel like I need you to know what goes into buying you what you have. I need you to understand the kind of effort and work that goes into X, Y, and Z. And because you did that, now you are making me feel like you don't appreciate the work that goes into what I do. Because eventually, at some point, you're going to have to do your own work in order to get that and provide that just for yourself. So that's why I said, it's expanding that conversation out and talking to them.
Yeah, like with mine, again, because spanking is not my thing, but like with my older one in particular, yelling at him and I do it because my nerves get bad sometimes.
Yes.
But for him, that doesn't
That's
work.
what happens when you get old.
Right. It's better if I go sit down. Even sometimes I'm like, you're not responding. You're just grunting at me. Like, what do you say something, But then he'll come back to me later, be like, well, Mom, and we'll talk about it. So I always tried to make sure that I let him know that, even if I used to always tell from when he was little and could understand me, I always talked to him like he was an adult anyway, when he was a baby. But I always would tell him and my younger one, whatever it is, I want you to know that you can come to me. Even if you think I'm going to be mad, you think I'm going to be disappointed, upset, it doesn't matter. Come to me and talk to me. Even if I get mad, I'm not going to be mad forever. Whatever is going on, we'll figure it out. Because I think that's so important, where I kind of struggled in with my parents, was being able, feeling like I could talk to them, because I just knew like, if I say this, I'm just gonna get yelled at, or just gonna here comes the Bible and read a bunch of Bible verses to me. And so it just made me shut down completely. And I learned that from a very early age. Just no, you just don't talk. You just keep it to yourself until you absolutely have to say something.
And that's dangerous.
Yes, it is. Because when I was pregnant with my older one, that's what ended up happening. I wanted to tell my mom so bad, but it just ended up, no, she's gonna yell. And then, of course, at some point I had to tell her. Or
I was 6 months when my mom found out.
Yeah. See, and it was just like, and the reaction was exactly what I thought it was, at least from my mom, was exactly what I thought it was going to be. And it was, we won't go into that whole story. But anyway, because of that, I always want to make sure that they know they have an open door. So even if I come and yell, clean the room, and then I'd be like, let me go explain at least why I'm yelling.
Yes.
This is why, because when you're older and you want to have a house and you want to have, a girlfriend or a wife, no woman wants to be clean up behind a man, and you're not going to have her talking about me, talking about I didn't raise you. So you need to be able to clean up behind yourself, cook your own meals, know how to clean a toilet, how to, do other things, clean the kitchen properly,
instead
wash
of
the
lay there and
dishes.
sleep and play video games.
Yeah, and now have some woman, somebody else's daughter talking about his mama ain't do a good job. I got to do all. No, you need to be able to do this for yourself.
Discipline and consistency, and helping your children learn how important that is.
Right.
And I think going back to the video, I think if the lady would have stopped for a second, because at the end of the day, our children curse. There have been nights when Maya has her friends over, and 3:00 in the morning, I hear a bunch of bitch, fuck, asshole, and I'm like, I'm not gonna get up yelling. I wait until the next day when they're awake. I'm like, I know you guys curse, but can you do me a favor and respect me and tone it down a notch? Because I don't want to wake up to a barrage of teenagers cursing while I'm trying to get my beauty sleep. Never had any other issues. I know they curse. We did. We cursed. I remember the day I started cursing, so I know it's going to happen. I just don't need to hear you at 3:00 in the morning. Yes. So she should have handled that situation so much differently.
Yeah, my niece did that. My nephew cussed, and my niece was like in front of. So we were in front of me, and so me and my sister, my niece and nephew were in the car, and my nephew said he cussed, and I kind of laughed a little bit. We kind of laughed. Me and my sister laughed a little bit in the front, and then my niece was like, and he was like, "You cuss too?" She's like, "Yeah, but I don't cuss in front of them." My sister, we have horrible mouths. We cuss up and down all day, every day, around the block for absolutely no reason. We just do. But for her to be like, I don't cuss in front of them.
Yeah, because see, that would be considered disrespectful. My parents didn't curse, so for me to do it, I would have got a backhand. That would have been a big deal. And even I never wasn't a big one to use curse words either.
Even now,
So I was adult, because it wasn't part of what I heard every day. It wasn't until I was out in the world, public school. That was the first time I ever heard a curse. Even my grandmother cursed, but only when she was mad. Even then, I never remember hearing her curse until I was probably early teenage years, and she had said "damn" ass one time, and I was like,
you were like, oh.
But she was mad, like she was heated. Not at me, but she was mad. I was like, ooh, okay. The person that she was yelling at, like, oh gosh, and she was going in anyway. But yeah, I never heard cursing like that a whole lot, so it was never a thing. Even now, I wouldn't in front of my dad.
I have a potty mouth.
I would tone it down a little bit.
I tone it down for my parents too. They don't cuss. I've caught small, very rare snippets of like my dad would cuss, and one time he was just like, shit. And I was like,
ooh, daddy.
Right?
As a grown adult, but now like my sister has to like remind me now. She's like, mom and daddy coming over, try not to cuss. I'm like, oh, okay, sorry.
Wow. You know what I would always do with my mom? I would always preface her before I cursed. I'm like, Mom, I'm mad. I'm about to vent, and there's going to be some cursing going on. And she's like, okay. And if it got to be too much, she would tell me, all right, that's a little bit too much. You need to calm down. And I'm grown now. I'm like 20 something, have my daughter, and she would still be like, you need to tone it down. Then my uncle, her brother, he doesn't curse at all. And the first time I cursed in front of him, he said, excuse me? My bad. Now I have to do the same thing with him. I have to preface him. Hold on, uncle. I'm about to cuss, okay? He's like, okay.
Because for that generation, it's a matter of respect. It's considered disrespectful to speak that way to an elder.
Yeah.
But
I just gotta let them know what I'm about to do before I do it, so they don't get mad. But I'm gonna do it though.
I'm still going. It's still gonna happen. You about to get this colorful vocabulary here in a second. One fucking moment.
Yeah. See, I'm like my grandmother. Only if I'm like really, not that I never do during regular, talking. Y'all heard me talk before. But if I'm mad, then just. You gonna think I was raised like in the country, just straight hood, because it's gonna be about all this. If I'm really mad, which is rare, but like I did on that.
That's sad. So me and Tori just horrible. Then
Yeah,
you just got some horrible mouth.
I warn people at work now. Like I can hold it together for like higher ups. And even then, when the higher ups start cussing, I'm like, ooh, okay, good.
Right? I can cuss too.
Good. I'm glad you saw this shit because this is some bull shit. This is what I thought. And this is what I saw. This don't make no fucking sense over here. But if this asshat would have just come down and told us what we're supposed to do.
Yeah, where I work, when I heard the CEO during one of the town hall meetings or whatever, and they did like the live broadcast and we were watching, and he was like, F this and F that. I was like,
oh.
Okay.
That's what we're doing. All right. That's the culture.
All right. This is different.
Thank you.
This is
Thank you for that. Thank you. Thank you.
Been holding in all my fucks all day. Like, right?
So I can
Like, you know
unleash
how
them.
difficult that is? Man, do you know how much I curse on a daily basis at work? Because these people get on my
fun thing to do. I'm sorry, whatever. There's a statistic out there that I saw that for those who cuss shows a certain level of intelligence.
Yes. I saw that. Yes, so we are highly intelligent.
I saw that and I was like, "Ooh, I'm smart." Okay.
Yes. Yay. No, intelligent, bitch. Intelligent.
You was smart.
You was important.
Oh, but yeah, back to the parenting. So yeah, I mean, I think the whole discipline thing, obviously, my personal opinion, obviously y'all do what y'all supposed to do with y'all kids. Yes. But for me personally, it's more of a catering to the child.
Yes. You don't always have to be
whole spanking thing, because I think there's a very thin line between like spanking and abuse. Like, it becomes abuse. Like,
I mean, it's
that's a bit too much. You can talk to them; they are human.
Yes, you can talk to and get creative with what discipline looks like. So, I had my niece and nephew years ago, and my niece was going through like this unsharing, this angry, mean, spiteful phase, and I had them for like Christmas, and we had played a board game, and she got mad, and she like walked up behind her brother and just like hit him in the back of just backslapped him like into the back of his head, and he was like, well, what was that for? And she was just like, I don't like that I'm losing.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, well, I need you to go ahead and apologize. And she was like, no.
Oh,
I was like that. No. I was like, so but you know what you did was wrong. She was like, I know, but I felt like hitting him. I was like, oh, okay. So no, I'm not gonna apologize. I was like, okay, well, you look like you done for the day. And that at this point, it's like 2 in the afternoon. I was like, you look like you done for the day. So go ahead and put on your PJs, go get your bonnet. And she was like, what? I was like, no, you done. You look like you sound like it's time for you to go to bed. Your day is done. If you can't be bothered to apologize and act regular, you don't need to be part of this down here. So go put on your PJs, go get your bonnet and scarf. And so she
she's big mad now.
I snatched her little ass up and I trudged her upstairs, and I was like, go ahead and put on her PJs. We tied her hair over, we put the bonnet on, the scarf on. I drew the curtains. I had blackout curtains. I drew them curtains, put her in bed, locked her in, closed. Good night.
She was mad at you. Wait a minute, dinner, Tori. Dinner. What happened to dinner?
No, you don't get dinner.
No, you don't get dinner. You go to sleep. You done for the day.
I've done that with
your day. We just had lunch. You can go to sleep now. Goodbye. And she came downstairs. I was like, no, get back in bed. I made her. She stayed right in that bed.
I've done that with my younger one because he got a little bit of
the baby.
He got a little bit of a temper, girl. You'd be surprised.
I know, but
he's so sweet. Okay, y'all not hear him every day. Y'all don't hear what I hear.
You made him go to bed and not have dinner?
Oh yeah, because he was yelling at the game. He gets very passionate about whatever activity he's doing. He's very competitive like me, but he was screaming and I hear a bang and Joseph is telling me, no, he threw the remote. Oh, so this is what we doing? Sounds like this is too much for you. It's too much for you emotionally. It's really getting you riled up and I don't want you to feel that way. So what I'm gonna need you to do is I'm gonna need you to come in my room and I'm gonna need you to lay down. And punishment sitting in the room with me was punishment.
I knew
just go ahead and sit down because I feel like this is too much for you. So we're just gonna cut it now, and you just go ahead and lay down. And he went to sleep. And he woke up. And he's like, I'm hungry. All right, you can eat now.
I bet he was hungry.
Yep, she came back down. She was like, I'm ready to apologize now. I'm sure you are.
Bet she was.
I'm sure you are. I'm ready.
How many hours did that take though?
It took some. She fell asleep. It took her some hours. She didn't come back out until like much later that night. But she was like, I'm sorry. I was like, all right. She was the one that had to, like, my nephew was so chill and so just even tone. Like, but my niece, she's fire.
So parents, we don't
There's
have
other
to beat them like
ways.
that all the
Talk
time.
to your children. Talk to your
Other
children,
ways, you ain't gotta
please.
beat them like that.
You know, they're little
know?
people too. They're little humans that we brought into this world that we're
Yeah.
trying to develop and grow to be
And
productive
what I
members of
noticed, I
society.
remember telling another friend, she was talking about how it's difficult to get the children going in the mornings for school. And I was telling her what worked with my younger one because I was literally taking his arm and dragging him to the car like every single day of the school year. Like, dude, we've been doing this for like 5 months. Like, why are we still doing it? But then I realized, like, let me just talk to him in the morning. If he don't like to get up in the mornings, he's the one that like to stay up all night. I gotta go force him to go to bed. But in the mornings, what I started doing is like we take our little 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and we go sit and I let him sit in my lap and I hug him and I ask him if he had a dream. And sometimes he'll tell me about his dreams. And I noticed when I started doing that, it became a lot easier. He was like, all right, well, it's time for us to get ready. Okay. He'll go put on his uniform and get his book bag and everything. But I noticed, okay, so you don't have to yell at him and drag him. Why is it taking so long? Just take a few minutes with him. It's okay if he's a couple minutes late for school. He's pretty much always running
no
late.
big deal.
It's no big deal. He's like in second grade. What are they gonna do?
Yeah, I didn't have those issues. I used to literally get my address myself because I didn't have time to deal with it. So I'm going to address you myself. And
well, see, that's what I was doing, but it was difficult. He was fighting against it. Like, I think I posted on Facebook one time. I'm like, okay, get dressed. And I go, he's sitting in the closet with his pants around his ankle, just sitting there. Just sitting with no shirt on, just with his shorts right around his ankle. So I've been gone for 10 minutes. What you been doing? Why you still sitting here? It's time to go. It's time to go. It's time to go. It was like, no, just take a couple minutes with him. That's what works for him. He just wants that little hug. He wants you to talk to him. He wants, be able to tell you what he dreamt about or what he's thinking about. And then he's like, all right, I guess I go to school now. And then he's cool. We chill. We get in the car. We talk. We listen to music or sing or whatever. Well, I sing and he kind of
I was just about to say, you sing. He looks at you like you're crazy.
Come on, Caleb, ready for the day. And he's just like, yeah.
I miss your singing, Nikki. I miss it. For when I was there during the summer.
Somebody likes my singing.
Yes, we had a lot of good songs going on.
I know. I'm going to make a video of all our videos singing randomly. Jesus. But he's like, Joseph, he used to it at this point. He's been around for a long time. Like, yeah, he's used to it. He just
he's like, oh, she's got a friend now. She
like, great.
Story also sings with her. Okay.
I'm just gonna stay in my room. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and wrap this one up. But any last words, last thoughts, last comments? I think I said mine.
Talk to your children. You don't always have to beat them. Just communicate, please, people.
Yeah.
Yes.
You got too many damaging adults out here already. Can we not bring another generation up with the same issues that you're dealing with
communication as they get older and go out to the world as well?
Yeah, exactly.
You yell and scream.
Learn to use your words. Know that they're make it a safe place for them to communicate how they're feeling, even if they are wrong. Let them communicate that, but also be creative. I'm all for like being creative in like the disciplinary realm.
Let's try this.
Let's try this. Let's see how effective this can be. But like obviously in like a healthy, good way to also like teach them lessons about it. I think that's useful and helpful. And that also helps you too to remember to use your own words and not go back and retract back to
regress.
Regret back to what was done to us. Like make an intensive attempt to like move forward and bring them forward.
I still think little speaking every once in a while, but just like we said,
there's a time and place for this.
They ain't never heard
not taking it all the way back to Africa and bringing it all the way back around.
Not sending them outside and being like, go get a switch, and you have to contemplate like which branch you're going to be beat with. Like
I've had to do that. That will break your soul. No, don't do that. Let's not do that.
It's tough.
No. Trump, why do you think half of us, the ones who are trying to grow, are in therapy now? No.
The trick was to find the one switch that was hollow. So not the one that it's like it makes the faux sound. So if the inside of it, like it was just thick enough, but if the inside, if you snapped it and you saw that the inside was hollow, it would just only like thunk.
Wait a minute.
So I
The
never
solid
had
ones
to,
that like
I never had
Those
to
hurt.
turn switch because my parents they use
Oh,
belts
that's
or
right.
the hands.
Yes.
But to me, from stories I've heard, people would say if they didn't pick the right one, then
I
that
was
meant
just about
that
to
the
say
mother
that.
would go pick
Then
out.
they're
That
gonna
makes
go-
it worse.
that was
Dorita
my
has done
grandma.
that.
That
Yes,
was my
ma'am.
grandma's like
Yeah,
weapon of
so,
choice was a switch.
yeah.
And if you
I
didn't
don't
pick
know
it
if people
right,
still doing switches now.
I don't
People
think
still
so.
do
I
that?
think that's died out for the most part.
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
that
'cause
that one's
seems
pretty well gone.
That seems a bit excessive to me.
Yes.
But
Let's leave welts.
It depends.
But-
Well, it depends on how you do it. Now, if you hit too hard, it can. Because my mom left a bruise on my leg, and this is how crazy this lady was. I looked at my leg. I said, you left a mark," and she looked me dead in my face and said, "Yeah," and I do it again.
Okay,
And that's the moment I said, "She's crazy. You need to keep your mouth shut."
Hold it together. Do not try her.
Because she's not. She's absolutely not. So yeah, no.
All right, y'all.
Switches.
Thank you so much for listening, for watching. We didn't do our shout out for our social media last time. So of course you can check out the podcast page, Nigel Knows. It's on what's it called?
Instagram. Wow.
We are on Twitter, but don't look at that because we don't go on it like that. It's like 3 tweets.
No, we don't do
and
Twitter.
we don't follow nobody.
Three
Nobody
tweets.
follows us.
Retweets.
Yeah, I don't understand Twitter. But anyway, on Instagram, my personal page, the head wrap page is Rap Queen 82. On Instagram, I'm actually working on Facebook. I forgot I had created one, so I got to get that up and running. But anyway, Rap Queen 82 on Instagram and on YouTube. I got all your head tutorials, head wrap tutorials. My personal page is Nike _8201.
Right. And my personal page is at Tootsie Roller 12. My travel page is Where I'm Going with an underscore under each of them and going with no G.
Deleon Fitness 1 Instagram and Felicia Deleon on Facebook.
All right, y'all. That was season 2, episode 2. There we go. We getting it going. We getting it going.
Get it right.
We getting in the groove of things.
Been on vacation for too long.
I know, right? Like, where we at now? What we doing?
Yeah, for 2. Okay.
All right, y'all. Peace out.
Bye.